boys and girls. Just making another quick video to show you what I've been up to around the lab lately. Well, I'm kind of getting tired of playing around with the microwave transformers back here, so they're just kind of sitting there right now. I went ahead and took the capacitors off, got them up here, and well, basically what I got set up now, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick demonstration. I got my gauges up here, and basically from my wall, it goes from the wall to this, to my controller box, which has my micro switch in it, and out of the box here, the controller box, my neutral side, meaning my negative wire here, my neutral wire, goes into one side of this coil here, the small one. And the hot side goes into this light switch dimmer. Any light switch dimmer. I got one behind that mirror you can't really see right now, but yeah, just anything with a triac in it is basically what you need. The triac, what a triac does is, like, say you have a wavelength of AC. That's a full wavelength from from the start to ascend, descend, and then back to the zero when it comes to the middle. What triac does is when it hits the peak, it senses it, and as it comes back down the peak, it cuts it off at whatever point you have that pot at. So, it'll come up and it'll come back down, and as you adjust it, it cuts it off. The way I have it set up now is right after it comes off of the peak, it cuts off. So it's getting basically that whole half of the wavelength over here to discharge those capacitors through the flyback here, through this coil. Because you got to kill the circuits for the capacitors to discharge. The more capacitors and microfarads worth of capacitance you have, the stronger whatever object you're running on it is going to be. I give you a heads up now, though. You gotta really watch out doing that. I was doing that and having fun, and yeah, I blew my ignition coil to high hell. I mean, it's in the previous video. Look at the bottom of this thing. It's ballooned out. And it was acting like a neon sign transformer before it died. I give it that. It was pretty mean. I was looking on something, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a brief little demonstration. I was looking at different oscillating circuits for flyback transformers. This one here is a real simple 555 timer setup. I like 555 timer setups because 555 timers are cheap. You can get them, a whole bag of them for like $5. But for what I like to do, I use a triac. It's just as easy, for me it's convenient to go to the store and buy a light switch dimmer. But anyways, this is what I was wanting to show you guys. Yeah. I plan on getting 2 of those. And what I'm going to do is, let's look at this thing here. I'm going to find my mouse real quick. You can't make it any bigger. Anyways, if you look at this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook one up, hot, neutral, and then on the other one I'm going to hook it up backwards, hot, neutral. And I'm going to have my output on this one coming out and just kind of going off to the side, and then my output on the other one would come up and go over, and they will, they will connect to each other with a high voltage because they're out of phase of each other. And that will, and you can do the same thing with microwave transformers, neon sign transformers. You just hook them up out of phase of each other, and they'll conduct to each other. But anyways, back to this. This video's starting to get a little long. Go ahead and here, let me grab this induction motor core. I use that to hold the switch down. There we go. Alright, and then you kind of dial this back until it kicks over. There it goes. And then I got that part over there, but My gauges do not like that at all. They like freak out and say all kinds of funky stuff. Basically, it's just the RF frequency or the RF messing with it. If I turn my computer off, when I do this stuff here, it'll turn it on. Yep. That's about, I don't know, this isn't that big of a flyback. So my guess is it's probably like, I don't know, I'd guess it'd be like 25,000 volts maybe, something like that. Also, when you guys hook up these capacitors, be careful because it's just running on the hot side. You're not running across both sides of the line. So, you know, and you should never hook a capacitor up across both sides of the line because basically you turn it into a grenade. That's not a good idea. But always make sure you discharge these because they will hurt you. I mean, if you do not discharge those, they will not discharge through this coil. You can, you know, turn it off, detach the coil, and nothing will happen. You go to grab the capacitor, and it'll pop the shit out of you. Trust me, it's not fun. I've done it before. Doing this exact setup. And I'm glad it got me on this and not on those back there, because, like I said, those don't shock you. Those kill you. That's something totally different back there. This here, this will shock the crap out of you. Basically, it's a big-ass stun gun is what I made. Using a 555 timer, or using a flyback transformer. I don't know why I said 555 timer. But, yeah. And like I said, they don't compete to an ignition coil. An ignition coil just whomps these things. I'm sorry. I mean, my landlord's given me a 45 kV one in a little bit here. So yeah, I'll have one to mess around with too, because he works on big screen TVs, and yeah, that's where I got that first one from, was from him. That big isolation unit I got, or that I had, evidently the coils in it burnt up. And, yeah, that I got from him, too. And that was when I was still kind of experimenting around and didn't really know too much about what I was doing. But, kind of a long video, and I just kind of wanted to share some things with you, show you what I'm thinking about getting, and some stuff like that. Another thing I'm trying to get my hands on, and if you know anywhere where I can locate one for relatively cheap price, I've been looking to get a potential transformer. I'd like to get one that's about 20 kV up to like 35, something like that. Or in terms of ratio, I would like a 60 to 100. But yeah, that way I can replace all these MOTs with something like that. And, you know, just worry about getting more microwave capacitors, because you can just stack these things any which way. You know, I can stack them in parallel and in series to make a massive capacitor, which way I want. You know, right now, how I basically have them set up, I have, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6. I have about 5 mics worth of capacitance there. Anyways, ladies and gents, just thought I'd post a quick video because it's been a minute. Take it easy.